We're going to take a closer look at Biden's economic priorities that were mentioned in last night's State of the Union. And for that, we bring in Heidi Heitkamp. She is former senator of North Dakota, who's now director of the University of Chicago's Institute of Politics and a CNBC contributor. Also, Marc Short is a Trump White House veteran who's also now a CNBC contributor. And thank you both for being here. Marc, let's start with you, because you said President Biden may have had a low bar to jump over last night, but you thought he actually hit it.
I think he did have a low bar, but I think we have to remember he was elected to the Senate 52 years ago. And so that chamber is a pretty comfortable environment for him. And I think that there's been a lot of focus on, was it too angry? Was it too fiery? Was it too partisan? I think there should be a lot more focus on the substance, because I think that the proposals he lays out would be crushing to the middle class America, whether or not it's significant tax increases on corporate America, whether or not it's the regulatory burden he proposes. I think there's challenges when he proposes, let's have a price control on all pharmaceuticals. At the same time, he's saying, I want to defeat cancer. Well, the pharmaceutical companies, the ingenuity it's going to need there, instead what you're going to do is you're going to limit competition and reduce ingenuity. And I think his proposal, when it comes to Gaza, is he wants to basically take our men and women in uniform to build a port and a terrorist haven, but he's not willing to actually build a wall to secure our border. So I wish there was a lot more focus actually on the policy in the speech as opposed to the style of the speech last night.
Heidi, let's drill down on that. You're a moderate Democrat. What did you think about the policy proposals that were laid out?
Well, the one thing you know about the State of the Union, Becky, is that every line in there has been poll tested. It's been focus group tested. It is the foundation and the skeleton of what we're going to see as we add meat to it during this campaign. And so these ideas are popular kind of at a top line. When you drill down, implementing a wealth tax, number one, it's in the Supreme Court right now being litigated. I think you all know, because I've been on your show talking about how difficult it would be to implement unrealized or tax unrealized capital gains. And so these are not ideas that he thinks are going to pass. These are ideas that you campaign on to draw a contrast. And, I think Marc's right. I think that there wasn't a lot of attention to the substance. We're going to see what happens in the next ensuing days. But I can tell you, he's got a lot of data that tells him what he said last night is extraordinarily popular.
Heidi, you just don't fit in anymore. Why don't you just come out of the closet? Would you please? You've got no reason to keep saying just come. We'll leave the lights on for Marc. Can we leave the lights on for her if she wants to come home? You're not.
Joe, I tried to bring her home. I tried so many times in legislative affairs to win her over on the tax relief we proposed.
Come home. The water's fine, Heidi. Be what you are.
Joe, I am home. I'm totally comfortable where I am. I smiled through that entire speech. I had to go do a hit on NBC, so I had to leave in middle. Oh, no, it was not. I mean, it was, you have to give it, and Marc's right. They created a low expectation.
All right, we don't want you. If you still smile through that speech, you are not welcome here.
There you go. I'm okay with that.
Marc, let me ask you, you think that this speech, Heidi's basically said the same thing, that a lot of these are things that you're campaigning on that you don't think is going to actually happen. You think he intentionally pushed left to solidify the left side of his base rather than run moderate and maybe look for some of those Nikki Haley voters. Why do you think that is?
Becky, I think he did that because I think he's anticipating this could be a multiple candidate race. And I think he needs to solidify his base, because it may not need to be a race where you get 50+1. It may be that if you're in the mid-40s, you can win. And I think he's seen a lot of his polling bleeding from the African-American community, Hispanic communities, younger voters. And I think the question is, are those people offering a protest in a poll and they're going to come home to Joe Biden, or are those people actually attempted to switch over and vote for Trump? But I think he's also concerned to say, what happens if those people go to RFK Jr.? What happens if they go to Jill Stein? He can't afford in those battleground states to lose any of those votes. And so I think he was looking to try to consolidate his base last night. And I think his speech was not really focused on, despite him saying, I'm Scranton Joe Biden, I think it was really appealing far more to the left of their party and trying to rally the base back to him.
Yeah.
Marc, just going back to taxes, the Republicans do want to pass many of the individual provisions, extend those provisions in the 2017 tax cuts, and they are very popular with voters, despite what Biden said last night. As we just showed you through the statistics, voters at every income bracket got a tax cut. But how would you pay for those extensions? And wouldn't they add to the deficit?
Well, I think, as you know as well as I do, that when we passed the tax relief in 2017, federal revenue was a little over $3 trillion, and today it's $4 trillion plus. The reality is that our revenues have continued to grow because the economy grew. The problem has been the spending side. We went from about $4 trillion in spending at that time to now over $6.5 trillion in spending each and every year, growing by 58–60% in that time period. We're not keeping up with our spending. We don't have a revenue problem. We have a spending problem. And there was no solution last night whatsoever, even to mention to try to curtail spending. In fact, we now spend over 75% of our annual budget on mandatory spending and the interest in our debt. And there's no conversation whatsoever to say what we're going to do to protect those programs or to cut any sort of spending.
Last quick word to Heidi. We're almost out of time.
The one thing I want to say about Joe Biden solidifying his base and the Nikki Haley voters, he hit the abortion issue very hard, and he believes that's where Nikki Haley voters will come back and vote. Those swing voters will vote Democratic. And we'll wait to see what happens. There is not any budget expert in America who thinks you can solve this budget problem by cutting spending entirely without looking at revenue. So Mark knows that. And, I realize that we've got a deadline coming up. We'll wait and see how Congress handles the expiration of some of these tax provisions.
Yeah, and as Frank Luntz pointed out earlier, you don't have either candidate rushing to look like they are cutting spending.